Investigators continue searching for a motive after a man opened fire yesterday on an Immigration and Customs Enforcement field office in Dallas. The Department of Homeland Security says one of the detainees was killed and two others critically injured in the sniper attack. The shooter is also dead. Joining us now is NBC Washington correspondent Alice Barr with the latest on the investigation. And Alice, the FBI is calling this attack one of targeted violence. What sort of evidence are they collecting to back all that up?
Yeah, so this is still important to note, an investigation in its early stages, and there's been no declarative statements about what the motive is here, but there are some pretty compelling pieces of evidence, the biggest one being that investigators released an image of bullet casings that were found near the suspected gunman after he died by suicide. And those bullet casings, one of them has the words anti-ICE etched right onto the casing. So that, is something certainly that investigators are pointing to as a sign that the shooter here was motivated by desire to cause harm to ICE agents. Notable that NBC News did speak with the brother of the alleged shooter. 29-year-old Joshua John is the name of the alleged shooter. His brother told NBC News that he didn't have strong feelings about ICE and wasn't interested in politics on either side as far as he knew. But Vice President J.D. Vance also said that there's more evidence that has not yet been made public that makes clear that this was the intent of the shooting.
Alice, do we know anything about the victims who were shot?
Not very much at this point, and we've been pressing for more information about that. The victims' names have not yet been released, though the Mexican consulate in Dallas says that one of the two critically injured detainees is a Mexican national. Consulate officials said that they had contacted the victim's family to offer support and legal advice.
Yeah. This attack is being denounced by many lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, and the president is pointing fingers at the Democrats. Talk about the White House's tone of this rhetoric.
Yeah, President Trump very clearly is placing the blame on Democrats. He had a lengthy post on social media where he said, quote, "I am calling on all Democrats to stop this rhetoric against ICE and America's law enforcement right now." When we've heard similar messages from a number of leading Republicans. J.D. Vance was very forceful in saying that Democrats who have been referencing ICE as something along the lines of Nazis or Gestapo, that needs to stop, that is a contributing factor here. Republican Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, he spoke at one of the press conferences yesterday, shortly after the shooting. He said, quote, "To every politician who is using rhetoric demonizing ICE and demonizing CBP," that's Customs and Border Protection, that they need to stop. So there's a very clear message coming from the right that they believe that language on the left is at fault here. There are also numerous members of the left, members of the Democratic Party, who have come forward and said that this violence is completely unacceptable, and that what is very clearly a rise in political violence that's targeting people of all political stripes, that absolutely needs to be condemned, no matter who is the victim of it and no matter which side it's coming from. I also want to note that there was a Dallas pastor who has been praying with other clergy members outside of Dallas ICE headquarters, calling for justice for migrants, speaking out against violence, and he is now speaking out against the shooting, saying it couldn't be more opposite to the kind of message that he's been trying to be witness to along with other clergy members there. So speaking about some of the kind of demonstrations that we have seen against ICE and trying to put that in context, at least in his instance, is it's something that he says is completely opposed to violence and completely opposed, therefore, as well, to this kind of a shooting.
All right, Alice, thanks so much for the information. Really appreciate it.